It's hard to understand the way that you went out. I bet you're living with a little hint of doubt. Maybe next time when you gotta show your hand, you won't cut and run, you'll finally make a stand. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Existential questions always get you down. All you want to know is are we lost or found? Is there something that you feel you need to chase? I bet you thought you put me in my place. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. You can run, you can hide, but inside, I'm finally getting to you. Yes, it's true. I still love you, but I am getting to you.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, guy next door.
Me, DK?
And me, Than.
Bringing you your mildly offensive double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce. Hello, gentlemen. Nice to see you. How you doing? Oh. right out the gate.
Boom.
Yeah, I think both DK and I figured you would want some, flashy lights.
Yeah, there you go.
Right off.
We
the
definitely
jump.
like to make more lights go boom, as a wise man
I
once
think I
said.
could do it too. Sick. We've got 3 viewers at the moment. Pretty sure all 3 of them are us.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm used to screaming into the void. It's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, those of you who are watching on the VOD, hey, how's it going?
Thanks for
only
stopping by.
only the hardcore VOD viewers will see the intro part.
And witness our money laundering firsthand.
Yeah.
Morning, Troy. How you, bro?
Well, it's like going to the theater and like, it's gonna be like trailers for 30 minutes anyway. they're gonna talk about some bullshit for like 20 minutes before they get to the actual topic.
Yeah.
So whatever, as long as I tune in by
I hate my job. All that kind of shit.
I mean, I hate my job less today, but it's
Perfect.
Nice.
I can
Okay. But 2 things here. So one, because I logged on earlier than I ordinarily do,
Yeah.
the cameras were in a different position. So usually from my view, like my control panel is across the bottom. That's where Than is. But I saw a blown up picture of his. I didn't realize how much fucking cat hair is all over that mic, bro. That thing is inundated.
Now I have it cropped so you can't see it, but I'm sure. Yeah, that's a fuzzy mic, a fuzzy mouthpiece, if you will.
And two, I don't know how to say this nicely, Steve, but you ruined the pun. It was supposed to be premature Natspeculation, like all one word.
Oh.
It's
Hang on.
Premature Nats speculation, like that's reads as 3 different words. Premature Natspeculation, like if you say it that way, like that's the whole essence of the joke right there.
Shit.
So.
Yeah. You know how you get over it is you play on blue team. That one's a that one's a blue pill joke. What's up, Tucker? Nice to see you, bro. I hope everyone's good. It's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks actually. Sorry for the lack of shows. We tried to. I can't even remember why we didn't do one last week. Oh, Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
You guys were getting ass.
No. One of your co-hosts probably was, but one of them definitely was not.
So let me ask you guys this: you hitting that?
It was mine and my lovely wife's like 18-year anniversary of when we started dating, which I think like I like to celebrate that because we've been together for over 18 years at this point, which is awesome.
Ridiculous and awesome.
Yeah.
No
Ridiculously
small
awesome.
Yeah, and like I was thinking about it, I was like, it's real easy when you get together, when the person you're with is one of your friends, as well as everything else that encompasses a partner. So, shout out her because she's fucking cool.
Yeah,
cool
again, you married so over your pay grade.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hot take: your partner should be a good hang. Just for those of you who are looking for compatibility stuff out there.
That's right.
Someone's not a good hang, probably don't marry him.
Probably
I'm just saying.
don't marry them. Yeah, you don't want to go 18 years with someone you don't like.
Correct.
Speaking of someone I don't like, did I tell you guys about there's an old guy, right? It's not one.
Hey,
of the two.
look, stop. Could we stop going on about the age? Like, I know I'm old. Fuck you.
There's this old dude that hangs around outside our house at the moment. We have this like pile of crud out on the berm outside our house.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen my pile of crud?
We have spoken about it a couple of times.
Yeah. So basically, it became like the dumping ground for random people of like they're like, oh, we just cleared out some hedges. Let's add it to the pile up the road. So this pile is slowly growing. It was originated by the old dude who lives in our block of units, no longer with us. And we were like, that's really weird. So anyway, from this old mound, people would dump lots of shit, and from that mound, a tree has grown. Because that's what happens.
There's a metaphor here somewhere.
I'm just not quite. I'm not quite tying it all together, but I'm sure there is.
We're on the scenic route. So old guy, who what the is happening? Flash. Oh, I think. Oh, hype train shit. Anyway, the old guy has come back to the mound, not the guy who passed away.
I was going to say, wow, this story's going in a very different direction than I thought.
TLDR, we got ghosts.
I was going to say, so who's the necromancer?
Well, so this dude, he rides past on his bike, and we've seen him dump like plants there in the past. He's since taken up landscaping. He's taken up the mantle of old man landscaper. And has raked all of the loose crap off the existing pile, and has now built what we thought was going to be another pile next to it, but is turning into a fucking like battle trench wall thing made of foliage, and we don't know why. We're like, what are you doing? So
he's just getting ready for the great Kiwi sheep attack.
Don't say floods. That already happened.
No, no, no. We're definitely not going on about the floods, but just you know, yeah, the great Kiwi sheep attack of 2025. That's
I,
what's coming.
it's real puzzling to me, and what's even more puzzling is I haven't gone out to confront him because I don't know what I would say. I thought about going out today because he was down there this morning, and being like, what are you doing, mate? What? Because there's no good answer to what are you doing.
A fair question, but I too am curious.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I should ask him so that he doesn't just make several mounds of rubbish that now we have to look at, because I don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to get it taken away. But yeah, it's really puzzling. So I'll keep you guys updated as the saga unfolds, because it's puzzling. It's a very curious thing.
Worst case scenario, maybe you can get it designated like a public landmark, like in The Simpsons, how they have the Springfield tire fire that's just going like all the time. Maybe that's just what you need to do. Make it a tourist attraction. Why not?
There is the big tree that's outside of our house had a plaque on it because it's a protected tree. It's on a register and everything, a good register. And
damn sex offender trees.
Too many roots. But the sign got
Fuck off.
I waited till you did it too. That somebody stole the sign, so I mean that tree could be any tree for any description. So we're not allowed to cut it down, which is a shame because that tree sucks. I hate it. It sucks. Anyway,
just like randomly smacks you in the ass as you walk past. You're like,
yeah.
hey, it's 2025. That's not okay anymore.
It's like, hey, buddy, what's brown and sticky? I'm like, don't talk to me, you terrible tree. My sap. Anyway, how you guys? How you guys? You guys good?
I mean,
as good as it's possible to be.
Yeah, it's like my week on kind of like a micro level wasn't bad in terms of like I fought my ISP for a lower rate and won, so spending less money for faster service, yay,
dope.
Sick.
And I have a reason to hate my job slightly less because I got my when you work in corporate America, you get your comp sheet at the end of the year to say what your raise and your bonus is, and my bonus was in line with what I was expecting, so that's cool.
Nice.
My raise was significantly higher than I was expecting.
Ooh, that's what happens when you get rid of all the dead weight, is that you get more money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sure. But the kind of the net positive on all of that is that it means I'm gonna be able to go to Nats.
Fuck yeah, man! That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
am most likely in that same boat of being able to go to Nats. I mean, assuming everything checks out the way it is. But unfortunately, unlike Than, who saw good numbers come back, I'm staring at a fairly hefty tax bill that I owe to old Uncle Sam. So it just means that the financing options are a little bit different than they otherwise would be. Because I had given some thought to taking a little trip out to Loveland, since they're going to try to host a Mega Members Night week after next. And okay. I haven't completely ruled it out, but it's pretty tough to justify the expense when I have this kind of bill looming over me, which ordinarily wouldn't bother me so much, but I feel like it's just going to go to a giant machine that Elon's going to like use to blot out the sun so he can charge us more for electricity. I'm full of Simpsons references today, but in any case, right. So is what it is. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm hoping everything works out the way that I wanted to. We can all have a good time at Nats.
Oh, I just got I see. There's a Doge reference, right?
Yeah.
I've been fairly distracted with a lot of stuff going on. One of which is I have a pinched sciatic nerve, and so now
good.
One side of my leg, of my left leg, feels both incredibly achy and also all my skin's burning down like you know, one side, which I didn't know was a thing that happened. So that's cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What a fucked up thing.
Yeah, as someone who has, you know, damaged his lower back in various fun and exciting ways over the last, you know, many years. Yeah, that's a thing, and it's really unpleasant. And yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's just meant that I've kind of missed a lot of cultural references, especially what's happening in your country. So
hey, you're better off missing it, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Every day I wake up, I'm like, what a terrible day to have eyes.
I did say they finally renamed the Gulf of Mexico. Jeez.
Yeah, no, it is a.
Is that a real thing? Really
yeah, like Google Maps fucking caved, and they're just like, oh, I guess we'll call it Gulf of America. I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots. My favorite one though was somebody did a little map that it just said, "Hear me out," and it just drew a line from United States, Mexico, and Cuba as 3 borders, and it's just like Cuba, United States, Mexico. It will now be known as the Gulf of Cum.
Brilliant.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'll get all up in that.
The fact that the fact that you haven't had to be following what's happening, just consider yourself lucky and move on. It's like as a you know, a serious thing, and then we can move on to fun.
Yeah,
I keep actually wondering if at some point you know, Australia is going to actually like say, yeah, no, we're not issuing visas to American citizens anymore. So
How about just the good ones?
Yeah.
Can I get that put on my passport? I'm one of the good ones, like it's in the fine print.
Dual citizenship, baby. Well, I wanted to quickly mention, because, you know, we talk about like all sorts of stuff here. One of the things that we've talked about in the past is like health stuff. Aside from my sciatic nerve, since going plant-based at the start of the year, so as of the 1st of January, I basically was like, okay, I'm going vegan I'm going plant-based is how I put it. I've lost a couple of kilos, and blood work for like cholesterol and pre-diabetes and all that stuff, all of that shit's trending downwards.
Fuck yeah,
which is
that's good.
Which is a scathing indictment on on the meat industry, maybe. So we'll see how this year goes, because initially I was going to do it for a year and then see how we get on, but I think if it causes me not to die, maybe I'll just stay plant-based. Might be all right.
I mean we definitely like that particular outcome of you not dying. You know,
I flip-flop back and forth.
We kind of like having you around, you know. It's cool.
It's
so,
all right.
Yeah.
And I mean that's also fine too. Like, I'm very much a believer in harm reduction wherever possible. So it's like, if it's easier to just be plant-based, then be plant-based. If it's easier to just say, well, you know, every once in a while I kind of do still want to eat some meat, like, that's fine. It doesn't have to be all or nothing thing. But if you're finding exactly. that it's just like, maybe like 6 days a week at the very least, like, I just stay plant-based. That's fine. And better for you and better for the planet.
I'm kind of and so that's one of the major reasons for for us going plant-based. Plant-based was was that kind of shit. But I'm the kind of cat that needs all or nothing. I can't give myself like leeway on shit. Otherwise,
sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to keep the consistency. Is the only way you can like
stick to it.
I get that.
Yeah. So hopefully just it's the turn the corner. We'll see how we go.
That's cool. I mean, and if I guess if we're gonna cover you know boring health stuff, so my last set of blood work at the end of last year came in with high cholesterol,
right,
as well. So I've been on cholesterol meds for the last couple of months, and I've got a follow up with that in like April,
right,
to see what those numbers have done with the low dose meds, and again, that whole trying to stay alive longer.
Mm-hmm. And like not even trying to make like a joke about like a man of your age, but it's like it is getting to be like at men of our age.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw myself in there.
Yeah.
Getting those kinds of I'm sure one of these days I'm gonna end up on blood pressure meds because it's just that's what happens
Yeah.
with my family. Like my genetic history all says that it's like, yeah, you're probably gonna be on blood pressure meds.
Yeah.
It happens.
They said my cholesterol has gone down significantly since.
Dope.
Yeah, so I'll give you an update in 6 months when I redo my bloods, and you know, I might have to go preachy on it and be like, all right, no more animal products for you, Than. Time to stick around. And you'll be like, why don't you fuck off? I'll be like, okay.
and that'll probably be exactly how that conversation goes. Just because.
Don't you know the damage that animal products are causing to your body?
Yeah, there's definitely nothing the world loves more than a preachy vegan.
Yeah.
That definitely is something that we don't have enough of in the world.
Actually, I'm not gonna tell that story on stream. I'll tell you off stream.
Between the crypto and like the evangelical veganism, we might need to have an intervention for you there, Steve.
They're like,
he's
he's
healthier. So much
healthier.
We could take.
He's healthier than ever, and we hate it.
I mean, we're happy he's healthy, but does he have to be so goddamn annoying?
Yeah. Cool. How do we go back to reducing his lifespan again? Because I mean,
we get it. You don't vape.
Brilliant. All right, Laserforce. That's kind of what we hang out here to talk about sometimes.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
We played this week. We had
good for you.
We had so many people. We had 14 people.
Nice.
And I got to do some coaching because we got a couple of players that like to sit out every other game, so we just kind of manage that. So we're playing 6v6 randomized Space Marines games, which we haven't been doing. We haven't been using the randomizer because we've been trying to make the matchups relatively fair. We're at the point though where
shots fired at Scorpion.
Well, I've always maintained that the randomizer is good when you have 12 players in there that all at least kind of know what they're doing. But as soon as you add new players to the mix, it fucks it. So
because it doesn't have the information that it needs to do what it needs to do.
Yeah. So and that's fine. I mean, like, it's a way to play, but I think for longevity in a player base, if you can make the games as even as you can at the outset, you stand more of a chance of retaining some of those players. So we played with the randomizer this week, and the games were actually really even. Like, on looking at the teams, you're like, ooh, maybe, but people are at a point where they kind of know what they're doing now. So and I got to kind of stand upstairs and give coaching around things like people not blind firing was the big one. We're trying to get that out of our players now, because a lot of the new players have the tendency to kind of cock their shoulder. That's a big thing. Having that game awareness of how far to kind of run out of a resupply, when you're on the attack and that kind of stuff. Trying to elevate the game. So it was really cool, actually. It was cool to see. Competitive games, and due to my fucking nerve issues, I wasn't really comfortable playing that much anyway. So it kind of worked out really well.
Isn't it? It is definitely one of the things that, like, I've always found just very satisfying, is when you do get to actually do some coaching on things, and then you see people implementing the things that you've been trying to work with them on, and like implementing them relatively quickly, and and seeing them take like immediately a step or two up in their game, just like that, because you actually can, you can watch it from that outside observer and go, oh, that's what you're doing that needs to be corrected, and being able to work through that, and then people being receptive enough to it to go, oh, okay, let me try that, and then they do it, and it's like, yes, you will be so much harder for me to play against in the future. Fuck, what have I done? Yeah.
It is good, like
For sure.
Yeah, to increase the quality, like it's just nice. So
have you confirmed that I mean, they're not super new anymore, but the new-ish player that you have, ESNC, I don't know, is that supposed to be pronounced Essence? Like in my head, that's always just what I say.
So we call him Insk, which is
Insk?
not right.
No, that is not how those letters are arranged.
If it was Essence, he said no, and we're like, fuck it, we're calling you Sean.
Okay, well, regardless, that particular player,
just call him.
Seems like they seem like they're doing real good. From just, I'm following stats from afar, obviously, but like I'm looking at this game where they were matched against Morange's commander, and they definitely held their own. So it's good to see that kind of player development.
He's probably the pick of that bunch. There's a couple that have that are like noticeably kind of better at Space Marines than the rest. Not to take anything away from the rest, but those two, it's pretty obvious.
It's usually how it happens when you get a group of 6 or 7 new people in. That it's like 1 or 2 of them end up being like probably really interested players. And the ones, they might be good serviceable Space Marines players, but like you never know where that kind of that new talent is going to come from. Where all of a sudden somebody comes in, and you're like, oh, cool, okay, they got something. You're showing me something here.
And so not just that he's like a talented player, because he is, but he's teachable, which is massive, and he's not a douchebag. Like you can get a lot of players who are good at laser tag that have an ego or whatever.
No,
and
no,
and that's fine.
Say it ain't so.
That's fine. I think, as long as there's not an overwhelming imbalance of those players.
But, and there's a line. There's a line, obviously.
I mean, you have to have enough ego to have enough confidence in yourself to back yourself when you're playing. But there's always those players with the unwarranted ego, and it's just like, fucking God, could you not? Like you are nowhere near as good as you think you are. And I'm about to turn
tough.
you inside out. And I'm not that good anymore. So you are definitely not that good.
Don't make me get you a plaque like our tree. Put you on a register. It's nice to have good talented players who are good people as well. Like just pleasant to be around. It makes your local scene so much better having those players. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if I had said it a couple of weeks ago, but we're at the point where I've kind of toying with the idea of putting a league together.
You had not mentioned this. This is actually new information.
Right.
I'm not just being a jerk for once.
Right. Well, you were thinking about doing like 2 or 3 person teams, though, right?
Yeah.
And
so
like
basically, a triple threat tournament. But the way that I would like to, don't steal your thunder. This is my show, motherfucker.
Say, Tucker.
You have your own outlet in Loveland.
You
have a better show you can go be on whenever you want.
Yeah.
Although
I was on that show on his last one, so
we were just gonna mention that.
Yeah, we keep stealing or trying to steal his thunder.
So the thought process is that it'll be three aside, triple threat format. But the way I'd like to run it, and I'm not sure if I'd sort of thought about it this way or if we talked about it in the past or whatever. But in the past, we've run long tournaments, so over like several weeks. The thought process for this one is it would run over like a 6-month period. But you only play league night like the first Tuesday of every month or whatever. So once a month, one of the 4 members nights you have in a month is dedicated to tournament night. And then the rest of the month is just, fun members night. So you still get to play a variety of games 3 out of the 4 weeks. You get a night where it will scratch the itch of like the highly competitive players, where they can actually kind of cut loose and be the best version of themselves. You get a night where if people don't want that, they can maybe skip a night and then attend the other 3 nights of the month. So, they're not having to be there and only be in a highly competitive environment. Or, they can suck it up and deal with it once a month. Like, it's not a big thing, the end of the world. And basically run it over a 6-month period where you play it as like a tournament point standing tournament. So whichever team at the end of the 6 months atop the table will win, and then maybe have a break, and then you run it again. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I've got it on the back burner. I've got a lot happening in my personal life at the moment.
Yeah.
So once I was like, oh yeah, sweet, let's get this cranking, I immediately had to put it on the back burner, but things have changed. So
It happens.
Yeah. I don't know. My kind of initial thought, since it's our show and we can spitball it if we want to, that for a kind of a first thing back, doing it like that over 6 months may just be too long of a period.
Maybe.
So my thought on it would be to do it over like a 6 or an 8 week period total, and have the league nights be every other week for that 3 or 6 weeks, and that way you basically get through it quickly, so that if the experiment,
we don't want that to be the case.
Well, so hear me out, and then
Okay.
you can say that I'm stupid, and that's fine. My thought process being that you do this first one as a shorter time frame, essentially as more of the proof of concept around it, which is why you only do it over 6 or 8 weeks, playing every other week. You still get your thing around, not every week is going to be super hyper competitive, and so people can chop and change as they need to on that. But this gives you a shorter a shorter canvas, as it were, to work through any potential issues. And then you get done with your first 6 or 8 week thing. You do your finals, and then you take whatever you've learned from that and then apply it to something longer. So yeah, my only kind of reticence about going into the first thing and doing, okay, we're going to do it over 6 months, and it's going to be the first Tuesday of every month for 6 months, is just it feels too spread out time wise. So compress the time frame, do it fortnightly games, do it over 6 or 8 weeks, hit the end, and you've got a good gauge of where people are with it.
So my counter to that, and this, because I've been thinking about all the kind of ways to run it, and we ran a league a while back. We ran it as a weekly league, and we ran it for 6 weeks or something. I can't remember. It was longish.
Yep.
But the big mistake that we made back then was we didn't have any rules around sharing kind of the position. So all the vets took all the 3-hit rolls, and we made all the new players play resupply, and then we yelled at them for 6 weeks, and half of them never came back. My thing with this one is that it gives enough time between league nights where if you have players who are hyper competitive, and we have a couple where as soon as you mention this is a tournament, they change, right? Like
I don't know anybody like that.
their mannerisms change.
I'm in this picture and I don't like it.
I was about to say I don't know anybody like that. All 3 of us on this fucking podcast. Yeah.
But your personality changes. Well, if you're hyper competitive, like a lot of us are in this laser tag scene, your personality changes, and you can become a jerk at times. By having it, I'm speaking for myself, because I've been in a couple positions where I don't when I look back on that guy, I'm like, don't be that guy. That guy sucks. He's good at tag, but he sucks.
He's kind of a d-bag.
He kind of d-bag. But like by putting enough time between those weeks, like having it once a month, people can plan for that. If all right, these are the league nights, then for people because we've got a couple of people who don't come on the regular anymore, and part of that is because it's not competitive enough. So, and people with families and all that sort of stuff. Right. This is, if there's one night out of the month where you want people to commit, then you can give them that night, and then the rest of the month they either don't come or whatever, like they weren't coming anyway. So
I could see that from both sides. Like on the one hand, it's like, oh yeah, if you only need to really commit to, this is the night that you need to be here once a month. Yeah, like make sure you circle out in your calendar and do that. I would say like the only drawback to that is sometimes it is like you were just saying with your diet, it's the consistency type thing, and it's like, oh, well, I forgot that we were supposed to do league this week, and I scheduled this other thing. Well, it's the same thing as like why you keep, like if you're gonna run a D&D campaign with your friends, you keep it on a certain night. You don't wait until everybody's schedule lines up, because that's never gonna happen.
That's right. and giving people enough notice will hopefully mitigate some of that, and also
but if you say it's gonna be the first Tuesday of the month, like try it out, see what happens. But I know, at least for me, like when we would do stuff like that, when we do leagues, we probably should have done something like that where it's like 1 week on, 1 week off, or something like that. Because I would find myself getting frustrated if people were going to miss league nights, and I'm just like, no, this is a league. You committed. You were supposed to be here, and then I kind of need to. I'm like, DK, remember, not everybody eats, sleeps, and breathes laser tag the way that you do. Sometimes real life does get in the way. Maybe cut them some slack. But another part of me is just like you signed up for this. You're supposed to be here. Come on.
But that's kind of the thing, right? Like if you can remove some of the barriers to people being like, I don't want this to dominate the next 2 months of my life or whatever. Like if it's just, all right, one night a month, I've committed to being here. So that was the thought process of doing it that way. And also,
I like it.
And because there's a lot of newer players, I don't know. I don't want to burn those players out on. See you, Lucy. I don't want to burn those players out on highly competitive laser tag, even if it's over a shortish period of time. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was the thought process. Trying to take some of the things we learned from the last time we did a league, and it was not well thought out.
So then maybe for this first one, you actually maybe you combine the two things, because I still think 6 months is a little long.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe you do it as essentially a 3 month, like the first Tuesday for 3 months. Like you do it in quarters.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
And
sorry.
And then that way, like you're still hitting the thing that you want to, which I don't disagree with in terms of like, here's your competitive night, and then here are your kind of
fun
cool down nights, as it were. But you're also keeping the overall time frame compressed enough that people can usually commit to things 3 months at a time. You usually having somebody commit, I'm going to commit every Monday for 6 months, or every first Monday for 6 months for this, like time starts getting very slippery the further out you go. And so I think you save yourself some hassle if you at least do this first one compressed into this 3 month time frame, regardless of whether you're doing it as a fortnightly thing or a once a month thing.
I think like a quarterly thing is a good idea. You run a three night, and that works into the triple threat aspect as well. But I think so. When I had the idea, I was like, well, if we do it the first Tuesday of every month for the next 6 months, it led into Nats like kind of perfectly. I was like, that's a cool way to kind of like we're playing fairly regularly now anyway, but a cool way to implement at least a little bit of higher competitive thing. And also you've got if you've got teams of 3, there's that aspect of, oh cool, okay, well we have our team. It brings that, your teams hopefully develop a closer relationship with each other. So
right.
It's something that's in the works. I put some mock teams together. One of the players who we haven't seen for a little while, 2K King, who's local here. So I put the idea to him. He's like, yeah, I'd come back for that. And I was like, cool, because he's kind of moved on a little bit. Yeah, but he's got a family now. Like that's his main focus. So, for him,
God, we're all getting so old.
For him, committing to once to a night a month is easier than
weekly
or
yeah.
So yeah, like there's some cool stuff in the works. Hopefully we can kind of make it happen.
Cool.
The players that are there on the regular are keen and excited about the idea. So hopefully this will bring a couple of old heads out of the woodwork, and we'll see how we get on. But
and I don't want to speak for him, but I think that may be a little bit of kind of what Tucker was thinking and trying to get another Mega Members Night out right now, in that we're coming off the heels of Random Draw, which not everybody's able to go to. So more level people get involved in that. People can still go get some games in. So at least there's something before Nats, because that to me is just the toughest thing that I'm thinking about right now. Is I really would like to go and play at least one other event of some kind, even if that's only a night or two of playing Laser Tag before I go to Brisbane.
Same.
It's just it's tough to fit in right now. But with that said, you mentioned Nats. I mentioned Nats. So speaking of Nats, we're 45 minutes in. We're finally getting up to the title segment of the show. So
which
That's about par for the course.
That's an excellent foreplay, and then if we end before the hour, we're living up to the title.
Exactly. I mean, 45 minutes of foreplay followed by 3 minutes of performance is just how I roll these days. So you know what?
The older you get, the more that's a thing. Yeah.
This is why we couldn't do a show on Valentine's Day.
Exactly right.
Okay. Well, now that I've put that image in all of your heads, so just to remind everybody,
for ourselves, folks, we do the show for ourselves.
Just to remind everybody, when is Nats gonna be?
4th to 8th of August.
Yeah.
I think.
What happened in July? We were all happy with July, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
August 4th through 8th.
Yeah. In Brisbane, Australia. Dude, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a cool week, I think.
Yeah. I will hopefully know within the next 6 weeks. I still put it at like a 90% chance I will be available, but there is that unfortunately kind of like 10% chance because of when the semester starts that I might be asked to forego that vacation. I really hope not, though, because I would hate to miss like the last Brisbane Nats.
Well, the last Brisbane Nats in the facility.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what will happen down the line? But that's the thing. Right. You never know. But and it's. I think that things will go on, and that makes me happy. But it's like a certain part of the era and a certain part of like the game that we know and love and grew up with. Like things are moving in a different direction, and that's just the way of life. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's like I think for at least a chunk of players. I don't want to call it the last hurrah, but it's like I think about how many more times are some of us who've been in the game for a long time all going to be together in the same space.
Yeah.
Like to have the three of us, the Oakley guys, some of the old school Brisbane players all together in the same place. I don't know that we'll see that again after this year. So that's why it has a note of being bittersweet for me.
Yeah.
But also I don't want to miss it. Now, that said, I kind of thought the same thing about the Auckland Nats when I was there. And I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be the last time we're all together. 2 years later, it happens again. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But because you don't know, you want to take advantage of things when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me, like the first time I played in Brisbane was literally in 2000. So yeah, it's like, okay, so if I get there this year, which again, like the money looks like it is all shaken out the way that I needed to for me to be able to do it. So now apparently I just need to find a team to play on. Yeah,
We'll take you.
DK.
Yeah.
Come play for Auckland.
So on that note, I mean, we might as well like speculate here about like who's planning to go, because from the west coast of the U.S., which I'm counting mostly as like Utah and California, aside from myself, Fan, Sweets, and Slaughtermelon, those are really the only four I've heard relatively dedicated to going. So I unfortunately think some of the early speculation, I'll just say that Rusty engaged in primarily. So the early speculation about like, we'll get a California team, there'll be a Utah team, there'll be a Loveland team. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, I think that probably there will be some kind of, not obviously the same version of US West and US East that we had in Auckland, but it would not surprise me if we had something like that. But I think we'll probably have some change, because it does sound like there's a good contingent of players from Loveland who are planning on going.
Yeah.
That said, I always take that with a grain of salt until I see some tickets actually purchased.
Yeah, that's the big thing is people. It's been a fucking. It's such a shit thing to happen every year when it happens, but people talk, and they're like, yeah, I'm definitely coming, just waiting for those tickets. Oh, actually, I can't come anymore. It's like, come on, man, like. But to kick us off, I've got the rumored rosters as of this week, I think. That
the post that Beans put up. I thought that to me looks like mostly a joke post, to be honest.
Really? Well, let's talk about it. Okay, so in his post, he's put in there Brisbane A, Brisbane B, Brisbane C. I could see Brisbane fielding 3 teams, definitely 2 teams. They'll definitely have 2 teams plus Mercs.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 Nats I've played there, Brisbane has had like 3 or 4 teams worth of players who've been available for the tournament. So I would not be shocked. I mean, obviously they'll have at least 2. I wouldn't be shocked to see a 3rd team in there. Obviously it'll depend on space, but I don't feel like we're going to be super pressed for like, no, we're going to need to cut some home site teams. Yeah. Like I just, unfortunately, I don't see like a 10-team turnout or something that would necessitate cutting the field.
They've got in here, he's put in here another state of Australia. I don't want to definitively speak for them, but there is unlikely to be another Australian state team attending this Nats. I've kind of been hoping that the Oakley team would have
one last ride.
Yeah. And a bunch of them are coming down to Brisbane. They've said they're coming down in the middle of the week. And hopefully they change their mind. Hopefully they decide to come and play. But because of the disc golf tournament, that's I think where most of them are kind of focusing on. So
yeah.
Well, not just because of that. They probably wouldn't come if there was no disc golf. 3rd team is depending on other numbers, so make up even number. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so like, two definite teams from Brisbane with probably either Mercs or a 3rd Brisbane team or whatever. That was the WA guys. Hopefully WA sent some players.
That's who I was going to ask about, was whether or not the Perth contingent would send out anyone, which I know they're more of like kind of zone / Laserforce players, but it would still be cool to like get some participation from people who aren't usually part of the scene.
We had some players that were over for the Zone Nats, or Zone Worlds, whatever it was. They were talking about potentially coming over or coming to Brisbane for Nats. So hopefully that is the case. That would be kind of awesome to have like I don't want to say Armageddon style team, but like a contingent coming from WA would be really awesome.
I agree. Yep.
Auckland are definitely sending a team. Hopefully a full team of Auckland players, but we'll see. There will be a team from Auckland attending. The East Coast US team, a Loveland team, a West Coast team. We'll talk about those in a minute. And then Mercs. And he's got here head refs of Oakley.
Yeah, that's why I said I think that was the joking part about like the Oakley guys will come, but I wouldn't necessarily expect them to suit up.
And so
I would put them in commentary, to be fair. I was hoping that they were going to come for the week and be on commentary. But...
And my question would be, what about any European participation? Like, could we get a Czech team or a Czech-German hybrid team or just a pan-European team? If we could get some number of players?
Lucy, obviously, Czech player now based in Brisbane, was talking about...
Yeah, she's a Brisbane player now. She's gone to the dark side.
But she was talking about some of her Czech contingent actually coming over and playing. So that's rad. That would be really cool.
That would be great. Because I know there was speculation about a kind of future TBD, like potential for a European Nats or Force tournament of some kind. And I think the best way to encourage people from the US, Australia, Australasia generally out there would be, to have like a full contingent come out to a Nats, see how it goes. Because I think that there is rightfully always a little bit of skepticism behind people saying they want to host a tournament who haven't like sent a full team to a tournament and maybe not like knowing exactly what it is that's involved.
Especially because
obviously that again
different.
Because that might be 2026, 2027. Because I think I've heard tell that Syracuse is wanting to host another Nats at some point. So that
there was talk about it like
next year.
Towards the end of last year. I know that there are a hefty number of players from Syracuse that would like to have the Nats hosting rights.
Well, and a few things go in favor of that too. One is that's probably going to be the cheapest way to get a European contingent out is by having it on the east coast of the U.S. because those flights are a lot cheaper than trying to get somewhere else, especially like Australia or New Zealand. Two, you have the attraction that for traveling players, you can get down to NYC for a day trip, and lots of people like to do that. Or Niagara Falls, if you want to go the other direction.
Trip?
He did.
Well, okay, I don't mean like there and back, but I mean like you can get to New York in a day.
Oh, right.
That's what I'm talking about. Like you can get on the train, you can take a car, you could fly from Syracuse to JFK, and that's an hour flight. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you could get. I'm not saying you go there and back in a day. Definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
That's very poor planning on somebody's part.
That's like trying to take a day trip to LA from Sacramento. You don't do that. I would think that would be an easy way to do that. And you have like the Armageddon connection too, because I know there'd been talk about hosting an Armageddon event like in New York the week before Nats and just having that roll directly into Nats as a way of maybe getting more Force players involved. But that's in the future. That's like 2026 business. Let's keep speculating about 2025. Okay, so maybe we'll get a European contingent this time.
Hopefully, at least a half a team of Euros would be cool. What would be really cool would be to see kind of the UK, because I know there's like there's a small group of UK players and a small group of Czech players and a small group of German players that are all like linked to our scene. So that would be enough to form a European team. I don't think it would happen that way, but that would be awesome.
Right.
I'd love to see the Brits again. Obviously, met a bunch of them in Colorado. Yeah, it'd be cool to see them. Having Marcus come back to a tournament would be awesome. I haven't kind of heard from him for a little while. Hopefully he's all right.
Well, he switched jobs or something, didn't he?
Yeah. He switched jobs, and so that's been
suddenly the travel ability just.
You mean he got fired from his last job for never attending his job? He was too busy traveling the world.
I'm not here to speculate on why he got a new job. Hey, I mean, I was definitely enjoying being able to go to more tag events since I was working from home.
Yeah.
For the most part, so
sure.
I get it, but.
Yeah.
But what am I looking at right now? I might be transitioning to a new role in my job that might require me to be on ground at a certain time. So, I mean, the good news would be like, if that happens, it would also mean a serious pay bump. So
yay.
that's the only reason I would consider it. Otherwise it's like, no, I'll just take the semester off. I'm not missing a Brisbane Nats. Come on, give me a break.
I remember I used to, and I think I've told this story before, but I used to have it written into my employment contracts when I go for a job. I'd be like, right, just so you're aware, once a year, usually around July, I travel for laser tag. I'm an international representative for laser tag, so I won't be here. Just so you know, if you give me this job, I ain't gonna be here out of a week and a half. They're like, oh wow, you play laser tags? Like, yeah. I'm an international representative. I represent New Zealand at several international tournaments, and they're like, oh, that's kind of a big deal. I'm like, it's not.
Be like, I play laser tag, and I pretend I'm not American when I go overseas. So they don't throw things at me.
You ham up a real terrible New Zealand accent, Dan.
Oh no, I'm from Toronto, eh? Nobody from Toronto talks like that. They don't know that. Be quiet.
But yeah, so that's kind of the speculative state of attendance for Nats. But I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beans had 9 teams, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's cross out. Well, no, I guess we don't need to cross. Let's cross out Mercs and write maybe Europeans ? I think probably 2 teams and change is probably correct for the U.S. I do think it will be. Well, I guess if we think about the Auckland event, we had 2 full teams, and then what did we? It was only one, or do we have a couple surplus players from the U.S. because Minette played
surplus. Minette and Redneck.
And Redneck Tech. Okay, yeah. I knew there was somebody. Yeah. So sorry, Redneck Tech, but yeah, for whatever reason, I was going out of my.
How
brain.
can you forget Redneck? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Nicest guy in tag, and you forget him? For shame.
Well,
for shame, DK.
If you weren't at the last laser tag tournament, I've already written you off.
Yeah.
If you're not at every event, you're not hardcore enough.
Well, fuck you too.
So yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know what you did. So Tucker put in chat, right? Poopies, Josiah, Eli, Calkins, Sammy, James. So that's
6.
6. Gabe, Corbin, Lizzie. That's up to 9. U2 puts us at 11. I think I heard a rumor that Baden's coming. I assume Beans is coming.
The people from the East Coast I'd heard was probably Baden, Beans, Disco Stew, Cody, I think were the kind of 4 who were more or less confirmed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Beans and Baden are pestering Josh on a weekly, if not hourly basis to be like, hey, are you going to go do a thing? But
he'll
man?
Claim that he's turning up.
He's a man of history.
He'll claim that he's turning up even as the tournament is going. He's like, yeah, I'm definitely coming. It's like, no, we're commentating. You and me are commentating right now. Nah, I'm still going though. All right, buddy.
So I don't know.
I mean, that's
Scythe both goes to a lot of tournaments and also doesn't go to a lot of tournaments. He's an enigma, that one. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me to see him there. It wouldn't shock me if I don't see him.
Yeah.
At the event, so we'll see. But I would imagine we're going to get an East Coast contingent of some kind.
Yeah.
That comes out, and what happens with me, Than, Caleb, Sweets, if we're going to get divvied up between some of those other teams, if that'll get shuffled around somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. In comparison to 2023, where by this point in the year, I knew who my team was, and we were already talking about what our battle plan was.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more loosey-goosey this year, but I get you can't have that kind of focus all the time. But some of the other people Californians, I would expect the Aiden Autumn Disco crew probably isn't going to make the trip.
Yeah.
Kodama's on. I don't want. He's not retired, but he's on hiatus.
Leave.
He's pursuing other interests, and those don't align right now with spending thousands of dollars to go to Australia. I understand. I get that. He's on sabbatical.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit quick of a turnaround for some of maybe the Utah players who came out to Auckland, only being 2 years later. That's a big ask if, one, you don't have a lot of money, or two, you keep making more and more children for some reason, and that just eats into your schedule. I don't understand it, but apparently people are fans.
You're not naming anyone in particular. Yeah,
Well, that's like half of them.
But right out the gate, like we rattled off enough names for basically 3 teams, right? So
at least 2 and most of the way to a third.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Which is good. That's a good contingent. If you can get 2 teams to travel from the States down to Australasia, that's a win. Yeah. Hopefully we can kind of get a couple of the Oakley boys to come out of retirement. Maybe we'll claim one of them as an Auckland player. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're planning to come in the middle of the week, because they know if they show up at the start of the week, they're going to get roped into playing.
I would say that is fairly accurate because
I mean, that's what I told Al. I'm like, you can say you're not going to play all you want, but if you hear the music, you're going to dance.
Yeah. So he is a little less. You know, he had some stuff happen, so he's a little less likely. But like Hoodlum is a svelte motherfucker at the moment. So like,
yeah, he is. It could happen.
I want.
It probably won't,
some
but
of
it
that
could.
shimmy
but
shake with my fries.
Yep.
We're thinking about maybe rostering 7, if we're in a position to do so, because of old age and joint problems. So yeah, and plus I'm still really torn about like wanting to do the commentary as well.
Right.
And I kind of don't want to do it in a way that we've done it in the past, where we, you know, play and then come back to the desk, because I get distracted way too easily.
You get distracted? No.
Somebody flash some lights again.
I see all the people that I haven't seen for ages, and I want to catch up with them and like, you know, just be amongst it. And that's why I was like, okay, not having commentary based on site last year was the best way for me to run that stream, because I was like, I can't, you know, I desperately want to be there, but it's a good thing I'm not, because I wouldn't be at the desk. I'd just be out, you know, talking and shit. So,
which is also okay. Again, we're doing this. We're paying out of our own pockets to go and do this. So to like go, oh yeah, I'm going for a job for which I won't be paid, versus I'm going to hang out with my friends for a week.
Yeah. We've also just a quick note. As some of you know, our good friend of the show, Frosthammer, is doing a punishment this year, where he has to stand up and do a Type 5 comedy set at a comedy club. Now we've decided it just so happens that friend of Gray, well actually friend of ours, but friend of Gray owns a bar in Brisbane. And they just so happen to have...
What is it with so many of friends of our friends owning bars?
Well, what's even trippier is that this bar happens to have a comedy club downstairs. So we will be doing a comedy night event during the week of Nats. We're trying to figure out if we have it. It's better for them if we have it midweek, so like a Wednesday night they have an open mic night, which could be the midweek activity that we go out and we do. We go to a comedy club and watch Frosty kill it, because he's definitely
people in the music industry knowing people who own bars and comedy clubs. Gee, who would have thought of that would be a thing?
No, it's weird.
One thing I'd like to do though, you mean how you did the interview with Ann, then had to cut him off? BC, the game started while you were yapping. What? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, you were interviewing me on stream, and we were just going and going and going, and the game started.
Game's starting.
You're like, oh fuck, we gotta go by.
Yeah, exactly that.
Couldn't just do a little picture-in-picture like they do for the sideline reporters.
Nope,
you just gotta kick them off.
I was like, "Be gone, motherfucker." Yeah, the other option I thought, and we might explore this, if Rusty or Brisbane crew who are currently organising Nats haven't already found a place to do the events dinner, I thought we could maybe wrangle it as part of that night. But maybe we have it as a separate thing.
Do they have daiquiris?
I think so. Surely. Probably not unlimited daiquiris. Yeah, so that's a thing that's happening, which will be fun as shit. I can't remember why I started talking about that.
I mean, it'll be fun for everybody except Frosty. And
Well,
maybe
you start talking about it as a
oh yeah
sideshow for something to do for Nats.
That's right.
And maybe Frosty will, come to appreciate it later. But no, I think he's now. I do think he's going to kill it because I think he's a lot funnier than he thinks he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is going to hate every fucking second of it, and it's going to be hilarious for the rest of us.
So they have
maybe what you call punishment, I call punishment.
They have a gong, which, because it's an open mic night, they have this gong which they usually have. If someone is shit, they gong, and then you have to end. You got to leave the stage.
Yes, this was the premise of a very popular TV show in the United States in like the 1970s and 80s.
Was it called The Song Show, something like that?
I just know it as the Gong Show. I don't know if it had a name other than that.
That's
even before my time, just so everybody is so aware.
And it's before mine too, just for anybody gets any fucking ideas.
So what? They did it as a radio show, or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. They
stone tablets they clipped together.
That's why there's now only 10 commandments instead of 15.
But they have this gong, and we basically said, oh, if you're shit, we can ring the gong, but you're not allowed to leave. You've got to continue after the gong. So it's gonna be a good night. I think it'll be a bunch of fun. But yeah, this Nats will be definitely worth attending. To go back to what you guys were saying earlier, like after 2018, the 2018 Brisbane Nats, I had a moment where after we got knocked out, I think it was after we got knocked out, I started crying, and I couldn't. Yep. I was uncontrollably sobbing. I couldn't stop, and it was because I had this realization that I think this is the last one. It's not going to happen again after this one. Cut to over 5 years. Wow, COVID doesn't count. 5 years later.
With that weird thing that happened where we paused time for a couple of years.
And yet we all still got older, even though time was paused. It's really fucking stupid.
Some bullshit.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this will actually this is a special one. And the reason for that is so we've done podcast topics where we rated our favorite mazes, and I know for all of us that this was near the top of the list, if not at the top of the list. This will be the last opportunity that the international Space Marine scene has to play competitive laser tag at the home of Laserforce. This will be the last opportunity to do that, and if you have dedicated a good portion of your life to playing this game, you will kick yourself if you never give yourself the opportunity to come and participate at this Nats, because this is it. This is the last one that you're going to be able to do it. For anyone else that comes after you, you can give them the old, wow, you should have seen
back
it.
In
It
my
was
day,
glorious.
Yeah. Let me tell you about the helm. You don't know about the helm.
The cock and balls.
Only if you're Oakley.
It'll be the end of an era, and it's going to be incredibly special to be a part of it. So now we are taunting Tucker since he can't go.
Correct.
Kind of, yeah. That's always...
See, so Tucker, here it is. Since I've now said that I'm going because everything has lined up correctly, Steve-O does now not have me as a target to mock for not going. So therefore, he has to find someone to mock.
You're my crosshairs,
for not going.
Oh yeah,
and that's you. So
if I get screwed out of going because of work, I'm just going to disappear. You guys will not see me because there's no way I can possibly deal with that FOMO.
What the? No, I'm not answering the door. No.
Well, that's a new one.
That scared the shit out of me. I was like, what is that?
There's no... I have not ordered anything. Nope. Tucker, what was that? That was somebody ringing my doorbell. I have no idea why, because I have not ordered anything for delivery.
It's like it's an old dude who's built a hedge outside your house, being like, "I'm finished."
The good news is probably not an ice raid. They don't usually ring the doorbell.
If they're raiding me, something's gone terribly, terribly wrong.
You got pranked, bro.
They show your last name, and it was just ethnic enough.
I mean, accurate, but it's not the right ethnicity for ICE to be coming after me.
No, you're right. It's far too European.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, but
it's Russian. They're not coming after me. I'm fine.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely, if you can make it happen, make it happen, because it's gonna be a special one, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, it'll be in a very important moment in Laserforce history. So you want to make sure you're a part of it if you can be, and if you can't be, that sucks for you.
If you can't be, I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures in the Discord and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm practicing my script now. I'm going to be in Australia until at least August 8th.
Manifest.
So this is going to be a forgiveness, not permission type statement.
Yeah.
That's going to be made.
Yeah, definitely. All right, kids. Is there anything else you wanna talk about before we skedaddle? Channeling into Josh.
No, I'm just excited that like stuff has lined up for me to be able to say, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
Because
we'd never let you live it down.
yeah, I mean, it was bad.
Not after 23, definitely not.
Yeah. I guess Tucker wants us to mention Mega Members Night again.
I did.
Yeah, I'll say, Tucker. We mentioned it at the start. It's not our fault that you weren't here.
It'll be March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, if for anybody who's interested. And I know there are at least some people who are planning on coming out from Utah, and I think Cody is planning to go. I'm still. I can't. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that if I had bought the tickets when I first saw how much they were, I probably should have just jumped on that, because the price has gone up since then, and it gets harder and harder to justify. But I specifically was delaying because I wanted to get some kind of forecast on what my taxes were going to look like. And since they want too much of my money, I would much rather give it to Loveland, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Yeah, and I'm not there because I'm actually in Denver a couple of days before the Mega Members Night for a concert. And like, if I extend that trip, then suddenly it becomes a very expensive trip, as opposed to the very cheap trip that it is because I did this trip to go to this concert like almost entirely on points.
Yeah.
And if I have to, extend out 4 or 5 days, then suddenly I have to board my little terrorists and pay for a hotel and
ding dong.
Yeah. Oh, see, there they are. You had to say it.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. Well, I'm not going either. It's too hard.
It's the same thing that I said about duos in 23. That I'm just like, we'd love if you can make it, great. But if you have to decide between that and Nats, prioritize Nats.
Yeah, especially this one.
Yeah, which a lot of the Loveland players don't have to go anywhere, so they're taken care of. And it sounds like everybody else, like the Utah people, they can drive there, so it's really just us people who have to fly who have to make these unfortunate choices.
Yeah. Tucker, sell one of your kidneys, mate.
And if there is another Mega Members Night between now and then, like if there's a little more notice than 3 weeks, then I might have a little higher chance of making it.
Well, I think they're also planning to do some kind. They're planning to do a remodel. I don't know to what extent, but they're planning to do a remodel of some kind. I think at Loveland. So I think this is meant to coincide with before that goes too far, and we might need to shutter the arena for a little bit if people want to come out. I don't have details on that, but I'm going off of what my confidential sources are saying.
Well, and Tucker saying it in chat means the sources are no longer that confidential. So,
You should start an OnlyFans, Tucker. Sell some feet pics. Or a TikTok. You call it TikToker or something. I don't know. Spitballing.
What?
The way that people run around laser tag arenas, like Laserforce players and just athletes in general, are the last fucking people who should be doing feet pics on OnlyFans. I'm just saying. Like at the end of the week, my toes are fucked up after playing laser tag tournament.
Why do you have a sixth toe?
Oh my god, it's not a toe.
Bunyan. All right, other than that disgusting note, let's let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I'll keep you guys in the loop with how our local tournament kind of ends up shaking out. Hopefully, I can make something cool happen because
that would be awesome.
Cool stuff is cool.
It is.
Yeah. But for this week, I have big guy next door.
I've been DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to do your due diligence, kids. We will see you. We'll see you next week. Ka kite anō.